ready.
Hi, my name is Brian Michael Bendis, comic book creator, and you are on Splash Pages.
Is the one obvious thing.
Hey,
stop it!
What's wrong with him?
His girl just broke it off.
It's her father. He doesn't want her dating a zombie.
Why? What are they, demons?
She is predeceased.
An outsider?
Mm-hmm.
Man, you're asking for trouble.
She broke my heart.
You're a zombie. Technically, you don't even have a heart.
After all of the great cinema that we brought to the world, and we still get no respect.
I don't know why he doesn't like me. I'm responsible. A full-time job.
You work at a haunted house in October.
I'm trying to be healthy. She's a vegan, so...
Wait, you're giving up meat?
Oh, come on.
What are you gonna do? Attack a farmer's market to try to impress her?
Now, if he was a vampire, you'd have a much better chance with her dad.
Yeah, those pretty bastards.
I didn't think this would be that hard.
Hard? Man, I'm a zombie and I'm black.
Oh, here we go.
I blame the educational system.
I blame the media.
I blame George Romero.
Oh. How could you be so disrespectful?
Coffee?
Zombies don't know much, but they do know good coffee. Deadly Grounds. It's coffee to die for. And zombie approved.
Who's George Romero?
Just have some coffee.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody, and welcome to Splash Pages. I'm gonna make a schedule for you. Holy crap, what the heck was that? Anyway. Okay, we'll quickly go through the run. Carrie, how's it going?
Going great. Happy St. Patty's Day, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Glad to see you all here. We have an amazing show, like Leo was saying, and we got a lot of people here tonight. So let's just skip on around and see how our other goth is doing.
Or I'm not the other goth, but hey, how's it going? Happy to see you all. Hi, Sophia, in the comments. Woo!
Sophia.
Oh, yeah, everybody knows her. So yeah, let's get to the show. Drew, or hold on, no, over to
MJ popped in. Hey, MJ.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Really bad windstorms, and our internet was out for a bit, but I'm back, and we've got power even. So I'm really looking forward to tonight's show.
Awesome. Mr. Drew, who do we got with us today?
Well, no, first things first, everybody. First things first, officially, happy St. Patrick's Day to you all.
Absolutely.
Here's a Guinness. Love y'all.
Morning.
All right. So, everybody, we geek out a lot at this show. We have a lot of great guests, legends in the industry, big people, inkers, salt of the land. The guest we have on tonight is one of my personal all-time favorite writers over the last decades, plural. There's very few things in Marvel he hasn't touched in terms of characters. Everything is fantastic. Spider-Man, Avengers, Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Fantastic Four, everything. Alias, Daredevil, Man of Steel, Batman. The list goes on and on. Again, I had to change my shirt because I was so excited. It was originally a white shirt, it's a black one. But everybody, the one, the only, the extremely chatty but still smiling, Brian Michael Bendis.
Hey, that was very nice.
Thank you.
That was very sweet. Thank you, guys.
Our fan base is crazy.
Indeed.
All right. I'm an open book. Whatever you guys want to talk about, whatever's on your mind.
Well,
let's chat.
Well, Brian, I need to start with the first time I met you, because you had this great moment that I still tell everyone my story. So it was 2016, a special edition. I found out while waiting online from somebody, because I make line friends really easily, that you were doing a signing, because I think like Powers Season 2 from PlayStation was happening around then. So that's why you were there. And I was like, oh my God, I brought some just in case Bendis was here. So I waiting online, I meet you. It's amazing. I wish I had more books. He's like, I'll sign whenever you have. And I'm just like, I could have brought more. I only have this many. And you signed everything. But the thing that got me was I was wearing this, everybody, my Gorillas Ghostbuster Demon Days shirt. It was Gozer Days. And you're like, oh, that's such a cool design. Can I take a photo? And I was like, what? And you took a photo of it. And there was an anniversary present from my girlfriend, still a girlfriend of 10 years. And I was like, I texted her like right after it happened. I was like, babe, I love you. And she's like, okay, why? What, like, why today? Especially. and she was like, because of you, there's a photo of the shirt that you got me, a symbol of our love and my geekdom for Gorillas, is in Brian Michael Bendis's flip phone.
Flip phone. Oy.
I believe it was a flip phone. I'm not sure. It was definitely not a Motorola. As we know, those are indestructible.
Yes, they are.
But that happened, and I've been telling that story forever. And I was like, guys, it was like the greatest moment ever. That, and around that time, Ultimate End was happening, and I brought you the Scotty Young cover, which was you dropping the mic as the Ultimate Universe, right? And you customized it because you wrote it as Ultimate Bendis.
I believe
I have a photo with you when we posted it on. Yeah, so there you go. See, the man gets it. I just need to say that meant the world to me. Just as a fan, that I had that moment, and I've sing praises about it, and everybody's like, "That's so fucking rad." So I just want to tell you, like, 10 years later, here you are again, and I'm so much better dressed, and the shirt still fits. So everybody
good.
wins.
Good on all fronts. Gorillas were just on SNL last week, and they killed.
Yeah, they were.
Weird. They killed.
Totally did.
At a level few do on SNL. So I'm a big fan of theirs. It was nice to see, like, there's a big comic book contingent to Gorillas because of Jamie Hewlett's participation in it. So every time Gorillas enters a new space, like seeing all of his work on SNL so prominently, I was like, is this the first comic book creator whose work has been this prominently shown on SNL? I think it's amazing. So still a fan, and I was probably looking for that shirt to no avail because I do.
Oh my God, yeah. But
Gorillas
Carrie,
merch in the house.
should we tell him the John Suntress story?
Oh, just a second. First, I wanted to let people know we will be getting to all of your questions in chat. We're going to kind of go through things when we get on the subjects of stuff. We'll bring them up, or we'll have moments to go. We also have a couple questions from people on Reddit. So we will get to you. We aren't ignoring you. Keep them going. Yay.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Drew, go ahead.
Yeah. So we're also really good friends with the great John Suntress, as he is a frequent guest at Terrificon, which is kind of one of our home-based cons.
I will be there eventually.
Yeah, well,
I get
when you are
a good weekend. Yeah.
This guy will be at least 7th in line. Fair enough. Not number 1, definitely within the top 20.
And
maybe
since I'm his camera guy, I'll probably be 8th in line, and I'll have my pile of Powers.
Yeah. But we're friends with John Suntress, and John was one of the principals in Ultimate Spider-Man, and kept making the occasional cameo. And because me and Carrie, because I'm a huge Ultimate Spider-Man fan, Ultimate Universe in general, and I got Carrie hooked on it. And she was reading and said, "Oh my God, that's John from Word Balloon." And I was like, "Oh my God!" And so we brought the first time he shows up, like we brought all the issues of Ultimate Spider-Man for John to sign.
That's awesome.
And he was just like, "Oh my God, no one has ever asked me to do this." And he, of course, in true style, had a Sharpie to sign, because you got to have your gold and the silver. You got to have, He was so happy. He was like, "No one has ever done this. We like this. This means the world to me and everything." Like he said, it was so funny. Anytime you got to put him in, and I think it was either when he was the principal in interrogating Aunt May, or yelling at the parents during that whole Kitty Pride fiasco, or especially our favorite one is when he sees Miles outside of his window and he just faints.
That's my
collapses in the middle of eating a sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love John. John's been pioneering this space that we're all sitting in right now for many years. I was there early days with him before like podcast was a word, so it's also generationally. Stan used to put people in the media and friends into his comics. Roy Thomas did it. Just like there was always like these little Easter eggs for people who knew, it just seemed perfect. And his voice is in my head, so that's the voice I'm going to write. Yeah.
Perfect.
You are a king of Easter eggs, sir. I must say.
I love him. I love him as a fan. Like I love experiencing Easter eggs. So yeah.
I want to bring up I'm just kind of jumping in here. This is one thing we aren't necessarily going to this comic, but my favorite Easter egg out of all of the reading we did for this was in Sam and Twitch, and you're everywhere in that, all the books and stuff, but seeing Ugly Sluts magazine with the Bendis interview on the front, and then the girl with the paper bag with the eyes cut out over her head. There's like this huge fight scene going on, and it's one of the magazines that's falling off, and there's just like this Ugly Sluts and then this paper bag girl.
Sometimes the artist is doing that's an artist Easter egg. Like I've been both the author of and the victim of Easter eggs. So I don't remember writing those words. So I'm going to say it was the artist on that one, but that's funny.
Well,
and it's always done with love. It's always a loving thing. It's really fun. Yeah.
I just never I cracked so hard.
Yeah, I have no idea what we're even referencing with Ugly Sluts magazine. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, okay, that's funny. Anyway.
Yeah.
The 90s.
Well, the thing that I especially loved about Sam and Twitch, I mean, if we're talking about that, was that how little Spawn is in it. And which the thing that I loved was, and Jar is also a subtle Spawn fan alongside me. So just reading this was such a trip. Seeing Al just pop up, and you have the great Angel Medina doing it, who is one of the many Spawn collaborators for like 20 or so issues, which in the span of Spawn is a decent amount of time. Like a lot happens in 20 to 30 issues.
18, I can't remember. Yeah. But so basically doing the whole thing, and like Spawn shows up and he's like, "I need your help." And Sam is like, "We're in the middle of something." And he's like, "But it was like, fuck off."
Get lost.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, this is Al Simmons, the slayer of Malbolgia, the fighter of Mammon. Like, he has killed angels, demons, he has cut off Violator's head so many times, and yet this human overweight detective with who looks like he could be related to DC's Harvey Bullock is just like, fuck off. And all right, cool.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity. It was a great gig for a couple of reasons. Number one, I didn't know at the time, but I was new to collaboration. I had done my own comics for a long time. Like most of the 90s was me writing and drawing, lettering, designing every single aspect of book design, my own comics, Jinx, Torso, all those books. So when I was started to get the call to do like collaborating with people, like you're going to write for someone like Angel Medina, who I could not draw like Angel Medina if you paid me, and people have, and I couldn't. So it was a real. I needed to learn some things about collaboration, and those 18 issues, I think it was like super preparing me for what was about to come, which was Ultimate Spider-Man, Daredevil.
Yeah.
Like there was a hurricane of what became addictive collaboration, and just finding myself in the collaboration was a great deal of. I learned so much on those, and I was very grateful. Todd was a great boss in that he let us just go do it, and if I don't like it, I'll fire you, you know. And so I just got to like figure myself out on those pages, including hiring Alex Malee for the last few, which was just someone whose work I was aspiring towards. And then we got to work together, and even those 5 issues on Sam and Twitch, whatever, like, you know, just figuring each other's energy out. By the time we got to Daredevil, we had figured it out. Like, so we got to hit the ground running on Daredevil in a way that was a gift, you know. Like sometimes it just takes a few issues to, you know, figure each other out and stuff. But like Sam and Twitch made things easier. And also, like, how do I communicate myself to an artist who's better than me? You know what I mean? How do I communicate subtext to, you know, how do I write towards them versus towards me? And all that was very beneficial. So happy. And I did get to write a little Spawn. I did a few issues of Hellspawn. It wasn't for me. It wasn't my vibe. But even like doing that was like helpful to figure out where is my vibe? Like where am I in all this? So I was very grateful for that as well. So
and go, Kara.
Okay, I had a question. This has to do with the collaboration that you did. The decision not to use word balloons was excellent. It was bold, and
that was
we've talked about
me,
this.
Yeah.
We talked about this before. How when we were reading Richard Stark's Hunter, it was like really hard sometimes to read what he was writing. And
yes.
I read all the letters, and I absolutely disagree with Olaf Beamer saying that it was hard to read. I think that you guys did a great job keeping it highlighted when it needed to be and putting it over black or black over white as you did it. I love that Todd set this up for you and the way that it worked, because you're very verbose, and it gave you a way to keep the flow and the pacing. So as you were collaborating, was it difficult at the start to get everybody used to getting the spaces right and to do it, or did you guys just hop right into it?
No, I have very strong memories of doing many drafts of everything and figuring it out on the page. And also, yeah, those balloons being gone was an interesting exercise, because it does change your relationship to the words and their placement in it. You know, I tell my students, I teach comics writing with David Walker here in Portland, and where I was like, you know, remember every balloon is a Post-it note right on top of the art. Like you're literally like covering up art. It's the only like medium that does that. So you have to really consider, like, what are you doing with that Post-it note that you're sticking on maybe one of the most beautiful drawings in the world. So having that gone, but then the font is different, everything is different. It was really a great exercise. Again, I wouldn't have tried it. Like that was what was given. It has aged well, like, because now there's a lot of people just doing different stuff. They're not like, you know, not Comic Sans all the way. It's everyone's trying different fonts and different techniques as they go. So it has aged well. I appreciate that. And I must say, I remember at the time getting a letter from Olaf Beamer. This is like pre-internet, when there was like a couple of letter hacks that were as famous to me as the creators themselves. Like Olaf, you see Olaf Beamer's name in Sandman, right? So you're like, oh my God, it's that guy. Like I was really just, I felt like, oh, I'm in comics. Like this is comic. So it really
there was a certain form of fanboying, fangirling, knowing that we're coming on the show. So, oh my God,
yeah. No, I remember like a couple of issues of like Jinx or Torso. I would start getting letters from people whose letters I would read in Captain America, and I'm like, so exciting.
Awesome.
Well, and maybe this might be a nice time, Carrie, if there's any, maybe we want to answer a few questions, you know,
before
we move on, because let's be
There's
real here. There's gonna be a lot of
people saying they
conversation,
like
and we're gonna
kitty.
get lost in the fanbowl pool.
Oh yeah,
So
the kitty. This is
A lot of kitty
This is
headset and a
Sadie.
lot of kitty talk here.
there you go,
This is
and real kitty.
We love the
Real
cat.
kitty.
This is one of them. This is Sadie. I have TARDIS and sheep around here somewhere. But this
So, Carrie, did you have any? Do we have any questions?
Yeah, we can go through. Some of these are just kind of off and about, so I'm going to go with the stuff that we didn't cover, so that when we go into the stuff that we did cover, we'll bring those up later. But first off, here, how did you decide to bring Squirrel Girl into New Avengers? He has a crush on Squirrel Girl.
I'm very happy about that. I must say this is one of my favorite memories at Marvel, because I did have the idea. I had multiple children quickly, and we, for the first time ever, we needed help, and we had a nanny in our house when our kids were little, and I was like, oh, the nanny dynamic was new to me, and like in my house, I'm like, oh, Jessica and Luke would need a nanny, but you need a nanny probably with superpowers. Like if you're in that space, you need a lane. And so I went to everyone. I was like, hey, it would be cool if it was someone we knew, like invent someone new, right? But like, it would be cool if it was someone in the Marvel universe who needed a gig, right? Like, I needed an nanny, and we ended up on Squirrel Girl. I mean, I believe it. Like Tom Brevoort might have said, like, give me 3 names, like Rocket Racer, like names that would come up, and Squirrel Girl just like immediately popped up. I was like, oh hell yeah, Squirrel Girl's it. Now, we made a teasing, like we were going to announce who the nanny was at like Wizard World Chicago. It was definitely in Chicago, and we're going to announce at the panel who the nanny is, and we announced Squirrel Girl with some almost ironic fanfare, because really she would not been in a comic in many years. And we announced Squirrel Girl. The applause in my memory was so loud and sustained that I started looking around the room, because I thought Stan Lee walked in.
Yeah,
this can't possibly be for Squirrel Girl. But I was wrong. It was 100% Squirrel Girl related enthusiasm. I was very I almost cried. I was like, oh yeah, it was really sweet.
You probably didn't realize that you crashed the Great Lakes Avengers panel, and upon mentioning that, everyone's like, yes, and you're like, oh, apparently this was the right place. Okay, good, nice. Hey,
yeah, I'm happy about it. I know it was always controversial. I enjoyed it immensely. It's my favorite line of dialogue I wrote between Luke and Jessica about Squirrel Girl, where I think he says she's half squirrel, and she said you're half nuts, and I don't know why that made me so happy, but it did. So
it was so good.
That's adorable.
Thank you. Dear God,
Okay,
I completely forgot about it. Now I remember exactly the comic, and I seem to remember there was a little tension between her and Logan, and I'm just like,
it's so funny. It's one of those little bits, and I did a lot where I just drop a little Easter egg that could mean just a little, oh, hello, Logan. Like there's a history there, and we don't say what it is, and then you get to hear everyone's opinion of what they think it is. And I've done a couple of times where you don't see the kiss, then the audience tells you what they thought happened. Where their imagination went, and I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't write that, but I don't want to say you're mad at me for what you're thinking, but you're thinking of that all by yourself. I didn't really think that. Yeah, which is okay. I do it on purpose.
I call this Claremontisms, when you go ahead and you drop something that can be 30 years later, you can say oh, so that comment was actually, I'm writing an issue here about that.
Yeah, and we've been making that joke, and I think we're kind of terrified that one day we're going to meet him and be like, it was like, I don't know, am I going to drop a Claremontism? I'm like, oh my God, he pays attention to our podcast. I'm both excited and extremely terrified at this.
You haven't had him on?
No.
Not yet.
All right, you should ask him.
We have to block out at least 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically, I kind of feel Chris Claremont is like if the Iliad was a person, just one little detail, 17 pages for that one detail in Achilles' shield,
That's funny.
And then it's just like, well, here was that one story I've always wanted to do with Wolverine back in the Outback era, and page panel 4, and I'm just like, I mean, Chris, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be you, buddy. Like,
You have to have
you
somebody
know,
ready to
so
shout Krakoa in the background to make him go, no.
It's
yeah,
certainly particularly
I've never
on
heard.
X-Men.
Oh, it's okay. He already has marked one of our members for immediate dismemberment, but because he did the silliest thing, he mistaked him for Walt
Oh
Simonson
my God, yeah.
at a panel, and I was just like, and the thing is, Brian, Leo came up to me. I'm sorry, Leo. I'm sorry. It wasn't going to be jar me. And he was like, I did something really bad. I'm like, what did you do? Like, did the camera explode again? Like, what's going on? He was like, we're at the panel. It was the Fantastic Four panel. And I asked the question and I kept calling Chris Claremont Walt. And I'm like, Walt. And I'm like,
You were calling him Walt. I'm like, you don't look like Walt, Leo.
No. But it was, and I was like,
No,
Leo.
it's a little more than that. Because we essentially Terrificon is our home for the whole weekend. We have a couple booths, and we kept on bumping into Chris, and for some reason, I had a heart condition that weekend, so I'm using that as a
you're using that. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, for some reason, I kept on calling him Walt every time I bumped into him,
and then he glared at him the whole panel too. He got that apocalyptic death stare. Just the
really, I've not heard this.
Funny. It was MJ. I think it was in between your Gambit and Zatanna. You were transitioning. So you were going from Marvel to DC. So once you cross that universal boundary,
I'm going to bring up some more of the questions.
Yeah, we have the questions.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, MJ?
I said that's my just cosplay gremlin right here. So I love Squirrel Girl so much. Someone, you should do a Squirrel Girl. I'm like, you know what? She was such a fun character. And I had so much fun. I make a lot of my own things. The most fun thing I've ever had to make thus far is that giant squirrel tail.
Yeah.
And I attached it to my jacket so that when I took, because I had to be able to draw, get in the car and things like that. And I had a blast running around cons as Squirrel Girl.
That's awesome.
Well, yeah, you're the most adorable OP character in all of Marvel. Like literally everybody is terrified of you. Even Thanos is like, not doing that.
People would stop me to have me just run. Hey, it's a Squirrel Girl. I'm like, they were like, here, photobomb they were like, they said, look like you're photobombing my photo. So there's so many people that just got a random Squirrel Girl in the background, like doing something ridiculous in the background.
Well, yeah.
MJ, have you experienced, like, for the comic creators, cosplay can be just the most beautiful expression of love and affection towards what's going on in the story, and like I have found myself sometimes overwhelmed by, like, the first time someone showed up in like a handmade Miles Morales costume, I'll burst into tears. It is a really beautiful experience.
I cosplay a lot, and it's a passion of mine. And I've been building things longer than I have been suiting up. So now I finally get to suit up, and it's just a wonderful experience all the way around.
It really is. Just so you know, for cosplayers, it's like among my peers, we're always talking about how it's such an overwhelming, beautiful experience, because you go into how much time it took for you to make your tail, and what a magnificent, lovely thing that is. And that's not one of the things you think about when you're thinking about what will it be when I'm writing comics. And then you get there, and it's like, oh, I'm overwhelmed by this connection that we're having.
And then, Brian, you're legendary for being rooted to the spot, like wanting to give everybody their 10 seconds. Like, I've heard that, I've talked to people who have like worked with you at cons and whatnot, and they're like, oh yeah, he's a machine, man. He won't eat. He sits, he talks to everybody, he will sign whatever. He will take the photos. He will say something about everybody waiting in line. He does not care if the lights are blinking. That man is making sure everybody who has a book of his, who has something to say to him, good or not, will be heard. And I'm like, that, in the Yiddish term, that's a mensch right there.
Well, and again, you mentioned Walt Simonson earlier. That when I was 12 years old, Walt Simonson did that to me, and he completely changed my life. He did not have to. He just absolutely stopped what he was doing and took me seriously for a few minutes, and that was it. I was in comics, and I had some other creators did that for me as well in the year. George Perez, and who were just like took a minute and it just all I needed to like keep going for like a year. So when I'm in line with people, number one, you did me the honor of buying some books. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I'll never get over it. It never gets old. So you're just sitting there going, the least I could do is like stop what I'm doing and talk to you for a minute. But also, I'm like, one of you might be a young creator who just needs a minute to hear the thing you needed to hear. And if I can get you from A to B, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Like that's also, I've had the other experience. I've had creators shut me down as a child, shut me down as an adult when they didn't have to. They were just like, I'm like, not their best selves. And it's heartbreaking. I've seen creators do it to other kids. Nothing drives me more nuts than watching a creator just like think they're better than what's going on in the room. And it just drives me nuts. I hate it. So yeah, I'll, and also we're here. This is the moment we're having. Let's do it, So
yes, everybody watching, please press like for Brian Michael Bendis, because that was beautiful, and we're going to send him a Splash Pages version of an Emmy. It's going to be very low budget, but it'll be for you, because that was profound. I almost cried. Did you see that, MJ? Literally, real tears down my face.
Me and you had it in New
York.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's because of writers and comic book creators that I have anything to go on. Like, honestly, I come from literally halfway across the world, we have cons and things, but not nearly as many as we have here in the United States. And it's just
I'll tell you another funny. I've had the other version too, where
I'm able to do.
A woman came up to me in a black leather jacket with her black hair and jeans and a flask, and I went, "Man, that is some kick-ass Jessica Jones cosplay." And she was like, "Who's Jessica Jones?" Blah, blah, blah. God damn.
I get a lot of people ask me some of my cosplays. I'm like, fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Before Carrie brings up a question, just two really quick. These are for locations. So Jeffrey's asking if you're going to be in Australia in the near future for a comic convention. We're getting some huge names, great vacation space. Also on the Reddit side, Scarlet Spider is asking if you're ever going to come to Florida SuperCon, and if he comes back to Marvel full time. Okay, so asking if you're going to Florida. Would go to Florida.
Well, I have been to Australia a couple of times for conventions. I had literally life-changing, magnificent times. I don't think Armageddon exists anymore. It was a show that took place in Australia and New Zealand that kind of teamed up to get bigger creators over there. So we spent like 2 weeks in Auckland and in Melbourne or Sydney, and my God, I had the best time. In Auckland, New Zealand, I rented a bike and I drove so far into the Shire that I was like, oh, if I get a flat tire, I am fucked. Like there's like
I'm dead.
No way home. So
you're gone.
I had also like just magnificent experiences with the creators that I was with there. It just was life-changing. I would go back to Australia in a heartbeat. I was there when my child was little, and George Takei was the lead guest of the show. And he was so sweet. He knocked on our hotel door because my daughter was sick from the plane, and he went to check on her.
Oh my God!
He was
George Takei, are you?
That's
well,
awesome.
what's really funny too is that he was constantly.
Guys, one at a time, please.
He was constantly holding my baby, and it was a little Olivia, and we all called her Baby O, and he has that voice. It was Baby O, like it was really like, and because she was so little. His voice was so overwhelming to her. My daughter was like, "Get me the fuck away from this guy! I can't." Like his voice was overwhelming her. She was crawling over his neck to get away from him. It was so funny. It was such a delight. Yeah, and I'm about to. I can't say how, but I'm about to return the favor to George Takei.
Oh God! The foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing. Yes. Hint. You'll hear about it soon.
All right.
A project that's not announced yet, so I can't.
Oh, okay, fair.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw out one thing real quick. Jumping back to the cosplay, something is playing music around here, and it's not me.
Is it the squirrel?
I don't know.
All right.
It's apparently Alexa, but yeah. So no, the thing about cosplaying was I was in Maspiel's first cosplay, and it was the first time I'd ever cosplayed. And so this last year at Terrificon. I dressed up as his character, the Coney, which is based partially off of his mother. And like it built it all and had a friend of mine make the mask and everything. And like you were saying, he was just like, I was the first person to ever cosplay one of his characters. He's like dragging me down to like, Howard, look at her. She's dressed like this. And this is why she did this. And this is why this is like this. And it was like the best moment to have. Like, I'm the first time I've ever cosplayed and I'm your first cosplay. And so we were like, we're each other's firsts, but it was really pretty cool.
Well, but that's the thing that I love about conventions is it's basically Halloween and Christmas all together. So many things. First thing is everyone's dressing up. Whether you are physically in costume, mentally you're in costume. And then anything can happen. You know, you can meet the celebrity, have this great moment, tell this joke, and like, oh my God, that's so funny. You can meet a comic creator who you really love, and you say, man, I loved your work, and like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, you can meet a cosplayer who, who just very memorable, and then a year or so later, they end up on your show. Like, I was like, oh my God, how'd that happen?
I still can't believe this.
And it's just, you never know, but every day is different, and it's just like it's so wonderful that I think you cannot describe it properly to somebody. You have to go to one.
It's really magical.
It feels like home. It feels like you belong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it happens behind the table too. Every minute of a convention can be magical, or you're meeting heroes or people who you're going to absolutely adore. It's an incredible experience. There's a thing that's going on in LA now, I think every year, that Patton Oswalt's putting on, the Revenge of Pinball, put together like this outdoor signing thing where like 50 of us show up to just sign stuff. And it is and it's just comics, nothing else. Just
my God, yes.
And my God,
that's awesome.
Guys, we need to find where this is, and we need to book a hotel.
My friend,
I agree.
Yeah,
now.
Revenge of Pinball, it was
New Hampshire.
Me, Mark Wade, Kelly Sue, Jeff Johns. It's just the list went on and on and on. David Mack was there. Just I can't list everybody, but it was just like me and Cody Ziegler getting to sign Miles Morales together. It's just like this.
Oh my God!
Everything about it was just magical.
We have to go.
And it's like me meeting a bunch of creators I would never see. And I don't know, it just had like a real Woodstock feel to it. I hope they keep going forever and ever. It was the best feeling.
Yeah.
Don't eat the brown acid.
I'm going to drag us back to some more of the questions that we have going because we're neglecting them. Okay, so back to Jeffrey. I have just read your Uncanny X-Men run. I'm actually loving the current X-Men series. What else do you think needs to be done to fix it back to what it was in the 90s?
Well, that's a loaded question that you think needs to be fixed. Really I think with the X-Men in particular, mentioning Claremont, it was like taking over X-Men when Claremont did 40 years of just about every idea you can think of, just like, and trying to come up with a new take. I was gifted a new take when I walked in with the original X-Men coming forward in time to experience what the X-Men become. That was an idea that was floating in the room for years before. I just, as a fan, kept asking, hey, what are you guys going to do that original X-Men Days of Future Past idea? That's a great idea. And then when it was my turn, they were like, yeah, you can have it. I'm like, oh, what a gift. Yeah, because no one had landed on it. But I think the best thing X-Men can do, and really any franchise, but X-Men in particular, is look forward. Talk about the moment in time that we're in, not the moment in time that we were in. And like every time there's like a rewind, whether it be in television or movies or in the comics, it's a kind of a minefield, because now you're like trying to recapture the glory days of Death of Phoenix, when you should be looking for your what would matter to these characters right now, as powerful as that meant to them in that moment. So that's always my advice, is like look forward and break stuff, just like everyone who you liked did when they were writing the book. But it's hard because some of this stuff is so beloved, and you want to touch it and you want to like be additive to it. But I think the reason House of X was so successful was because it was no one else had done that.
Right.
Like it was, and yet it was very much X-Men. You didn't go, what is this? Like, you're like, oh, okay, new take. All right, here we go. So like a lot of, like even watching my friend Fraction on Batman, just focus on the moment. Don't worry about the 50 years that came before,
Actually, Carrie, I'd like to speak for Brian in a separate answer. I'll like TLDR that. Carrie, the answer to how to do that is clearly synthesizers. You need more synthesizers and Jim.
Well, 90s is guitar. 90s is
exactly. You need synthesizers, you need guitar, and you just need a fantastic theme song that will resonate through the fans for generations to come until it inevitably comes back and is still aces. That is the answer of how we can do that. Thank you very much for coming to my TED Talk, Bendis and me. Thank you.
X-Men and Spider-Man are well, just these longer franchises like X-Men and Spider-Man, they tend to be like SNL, where whoever you were as a teenager is your favorite. Like whoever you were at a certain age, that's yours, right? Yeah. Like SNL documentaries talk about it all the time. Like whoever you were growing up watching, that was your SNL, right? So,
yeah, it's true.
It's not like overall general, but it does kind of does land that way. So.
And it's funny because I swear, anytime I'm reading Spider-Man, I think that's 100% accurate. Because anytime I'm reading Spider-Man, it's either you or Dan Slott. Because those are the ones.
That's nice. Because we were like two sides of the coin at the same time. We were both, burning hot at the same time.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, and I've told everybody this, like, I had two comics when I was like I grew up in comics like MJ, grew up in comics, reading everything, and then I kind of fell off. And I was that weird kid in school who I seem to recall, oddly enough, web slinging through the hallways. Because, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man was very big when I was in high school. And I was at my comic shop and I saw issue 100 of Ultimate Spider-Man. I've never read anything you did like that. I picked that up. I was like, wow, this is great. I'm just picking it up. I was like, are there more? Like, you said 100. What about the other 199? And they're like, oh, yeah, no, it's been going on for a while. You should read it. It's great. Michael Bendis is killing it. You should read the Ultimate Universe. And I never went back.
It was so good.
So
what's interesting too now is that like when I was coming up, there was definitely a sense of what was new and what was old, and now there's definitely a sense like there's just comics. There's definitely a class of comics, but like there's people reading my Daredevil that don't know it's 25 years old. Like I hear from them all the time. Like they're picking up in trade. They don't know what date it was originally published. You're just reading it, and that I did not perceive coming. Like I was like, we talk about, me and my peers talk about this, like the creators in the 50s and 60s and even 70s didn't have a sense that this stuff would still be in print. Like you could tell from some of the choices that like, just getting Jimmy Olsen out the door. He's a lizard. He's a turtle. He's a, you could see that this wasn't meant for collection. And now we kind of know this might be in print long after I'm gone. Let's try to like not write anything that'll age it poorly or references that'll date terribly. Just like if you can't be 100%, but like we kind of have a knowledge now that this stuff is going to be collected in different forms over years and repackaged. And now we're here, and it's fascinating. People really can't. I have people reading my Avengers stuff in omnibus form, first time. It's new to them. They don't see it as the day it was published. They just read comics. I love it. I did not see it coming, but I love it. Yeah.
Well,
in the comic communities, like on Reddit, all of us, we collect the floppies. We got boxes behind us. And Jar Jar has them on the wall there.
He does.
But going to those communities, just seeing, and it's wonderful. A lot of young new readers showing off their collection, and it's all trades. Most
of our audience is trades. It really is, and that's great. I don't care how you're reading it as long as you paid for it.
And it's funny because like again, I remember going to cons, and like if you showed up with a big stack of books, like that was like the coolest thing. And like, oh my god, thank you so much. I mean, like I'll never forget one time I was seeing late great Peter David at a New York Comic Con, and I just had this huge stack because at the time he had survived one of his strokes. And I was like, oh my god. Like, these writers are not immortal. There could be an end. Like Peter David, so I did this huge stack, and he just saw me standing there at this stack like this big, and he just said, "Holy shit!" He's just talking to me, and he's just banging it out. And Peter David, and I'm just like, and I remember the great Mark Bagley did something similar, and I had everything you and Mark did from Ultimate Spider-Man, and he was such a champ.
I love that, man.
Just signing, and I was telling him like my favorite arcs, like my favorite moments, like everything, and he was just so appreciative and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? And I said to my friends, like, you don't see this anymore. Like it's so hard now. And it's just it's still
funny
like
does...
like you said, I remember those moments so nicely. And it meant the world, talking to creators like you and just showing like, I really love this book. Like this book was amazing. I rant about it. I mean, you can ask all of these guys. I'm always raving about Ultimate Spider-Man is the perfect gateway to a new reader. I was like, just read this. It's not,
that's nice.
616 canon, but it's still fucking entertaining. Like it's still great.
You know what else is great? When someone comes up, I love the big pile. It's the biggest gift of my life when someone comes up and they've got like all of it. And
you're gonna regret that if I meet you again. But
no, and
moving on.
Like my guilt kicks in when someone comes in with like 6 omnibuses that they drag their ass through a convention with, like these big bricks. Like it's like I have guilt, and then it's always like right after him, the guy will have just the sleeves. Like he was smart enough. I'm not bringing the whole book. I'm bringing the sleeve. And the guy with the
that's kind of smart.
Yeah, it's always the guy with the 6 bricks goes, fuck, I should have just done that. But I will say to this day, and a lot of people have said this, but it like when someone comes up to you with one book that looks like they wiped their ass with it, like they've read it so many times, it's barely being held together by a staple. And you could see that's how much it means to them. They're going to read it 10 more times. And they always look the most embarrassed, like they know their book isn't mint, and I'm like, oh no, that's better than mint. That's super mint. That's it's
right.
It's the best.
Those books smell the best too.
Yeah, they absolutely
do.
And I had, and also like going back to your talk about Ultimate Spider-Man 100, I had those too. I had like this is like pre-internet and like when I was a kid, I pick up a random issue of Marvel Team Up where Spider-Man's on the fucking moon, and I'm like, how do you get on the moon? And like there's no way to like there's no Googling, there's no like there's no Reddit, right? There's just like I gotta just think about it, right? And then maybe a year later you'll be at a back issue and oh, it's the one before, this is how he got on the moon. And it's always so I think about that experience and our version of it, like the modern version of it in the cliffhangers when we're doing our cliffhangers.
I just want to say one more thing, and then Carrie, I think we should definitely get to some questions. And guys, I apologize. I'm fanboying a little bit. I realize it.
You're gushing.
So, shut up, I also, one other thing I want to thank you for is I, at one point, was writing for Screen Rant, and they didn't have a lot in terms of backlog for Ultimate Universe. And they were like, yeah, do you want to like write some stuff and everything? And I was like, you're going to pay me to write about one of my favorite universes in comics. I was like, so I literally went through like every story arc of Ultimate Spider-Man, like you and Mark Millar's X-Men, all these things, and I'm just pitching ideas like, oh yeah, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is good. So at one point, I think my goal was trying to be like the aficionado, like the world expert on the Ultimate Universe. So many times an Ultimate Universe was referencing anything, it was one of my articles, and literally I was like, I'd like to thank Michael Bendis, Mark Millar, Brian K. Vaughan, the Kuberts, Mark Bagley, just everybody. Thank you so much.
So that's awesome. And also, I could definitely feel when Hickman started his Ultimate Spider-Man, there was like a wave of, well, what's Ultimate Spider-Man? And so that's when articles like yours really kick in for people, like a space. So like someone cleanly described the last 20 years to me, it's a gift. So thank you, because I get those all the time. I get people referencing them to me all the time. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, you're welcome. So
yeah, and we talk about like when I was growing up, there was like these like fanzines and like Fantico would do like Frank Miller's Daredevil and unpack it, right? And now that's what you're doing here. Like you're doing your version of it here, and I love that this extended conversation past the page is always. Yep, there we go.
All the hearts.
Carrie, I'm sorry.
Hearts, everybody.
Oh no, I'm working on getting us through some of these questions because people took the time to come and visit us, and they took some time on Reddit to hop in.
Absolutely,
and,
Carrie.
So I'm gonna go over real quick on. Actually, I like one of the questions that we have right here in the stream. While we're talking about Miles, we need a Miles and Gwen alternate universe 6-issue series or mini series by Bendis. So, what?
That's nice.
Is that something that you would consider, that you would think would be fun to do?
You guys know I'm back doing Marvel stuff. I'm not going to be like I was on multiple monthlies like that. That mountain is absolutely climbed, and I have to remind myself all the time that whatever I was trying to prove, I proved. So stop. And so I have some curated projects that I will be doing over the next couple years, and I'm excited to show you what they are. Is that a non-committal answer? But me and Sara Pichelli, wink, are reunited for a major project past Superman.
Oh yeah,
we've already yeah.
Okay, so that comes up with, I have 2 more questions, and these are from Reddit. The first one here is, well, actually, I'll ask them in reverse order. This is from Not a Robot 1984. Do you have any plans on writing more Miles after the upcoming crossover?
Yes.
Is it yes? And
yes, but with the full,
I just wanted to get his name in there. So
may I say that I think when I left Marvel, I did say out loud and write to some creators who wanted to hear it. You have my permission to fuck all this shit up. I made hay out of my time, and I did break a lot of stuff and put it back together, and that's kind of what the job is, right? And I know that there were some places that they were being a little more precious than others, and I thought Miles was entering that space where and I just let everybody know nothing would delight me more than you break everything I built and do something with it, because that's what this is supposed to be. In that mindset, Cody Ziegler, who is the last writer of Spider-Man, just delighted the shit out of me with every choice he made, because it was literally choices I know I would never get to, and I was like, oh, this is fantastic. So I'm excited to revisit the characters with Sara, Miles's birth mom, and reevaluate our relationship to the characters with a new story. So that'll be down the line, right? Coming right away, coming soon is Spider-Man Superman, with Miles and Clark Kent Superman meeting each other for the first time, drawn by Sara. It was having just spent time with Superman and spent time with Miles. In a million years, I never saw the day coming where I'd get to write the two of them speaking together. So I'm excited for that to come out. I'm very happy to be part of that project, even a little bit. And but just a couple months ago, I got to go to Italy for a little bit of a tour, and I got to reunite with Sara, who again had a magnificent collaboration with, but we weren't close friends. She doesn't speak English; it's her first language, but we just got along great. And we made a baby, and the baby went out in the world, and it's way out of our hands. Whatever we were hoping for, it's way beyond what any dream we could possibly had, to the point where it's hard to even talk about. Yeah, but it's hard to even talk about. It's like watching your child go off and just achieve all things. And so we got together in Italy and did have a moment where we were able to go, huh? What? Yeah, and it was kind of great. So we're reuniting with that energy and bringing it forward when we can.
So that brings us to this. Oh,
Carrie, actually, while we're on the subject, and I know you can't reveal too much about it, but the Spider-Man Batman work that we're all about to read soon. How did you approach that? I mean, it's
Spider-Man Superman.
Spider-Man Superman.
I was not invited to that one.
I have a direct question about Spider-Man Superman, actually, about Sara Pichelli.
Sure.
It was this is from Beat Bop Boop with multiple
I know Beat Bop Boop
numbers. You know Beat
Don't
Bop
we
Boop.
all?
Yeah. But
that's Dr.
They
Beat
asked.
Bop Boop to you.
What can you say about your Spider-Man Superman story with Sara Pichelli? I noticed Superman is wearing his post Superman Reborn suit on Pichelli's variant for the issue. Is there a reason for that?
That is, there is a navigation between the two companies about what everyone looks like and what everyone sounds like and what everyone does. So literally the only note we got was that's the Superman. I'm like, okay. Even though it was so funny when I first came to DC, I had entered a space where this should we bring the trunks back was such a big debate inside the offices. Again, I wasn't there, so when they came to me and said trunks or no trunks, and I went trunks, and they went ah, and it was like screaming and yelling, and like it was the end of a conversation that I had not been privy to. This had happened a couple of times in my life where I was asked to be the deciding vote, and no one told me I was the deciding vote. And this actually happened to me with the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. I got called into a Sony meeting, did not know what the meeting was about. They sat me down. There was like 40 people at a table, and the head of Sony just goes, "Brian, we have a question for you." And I'm like, I've literally no idea what's going to be said. They go, "Organic or non-organic web shooters?" And I went, "Oh, non-organic." And the room exploded like it was a jury decision. Like people were slamming books on the table, and half the people were happy. And I clearly someone had decided we have a tie and we'll have the deciding vote. And I pointed out that the non-organic web shooters is more of a character device. He fixes a problem with his intellect. It's more interesting, and you've already done the other thing, and it's weird and creepy. So let's do this one. And I was able to. I felt I did like a pop culture mitzvah. Like I got them to like see the light. I'm not always successful when I'm asked those questions, but that one I was successful. And with this one, I walked into DC and they were yelling at each other about the trunks and their historical value. And I'm like, historical value aside, I think it looks better with the trunks. I think aesthetically it looks good, and it's what I grew up with, so I can't not see the Christopher Reeve costume, you know. So that was it. But for this, God bless. There's only a couple shots where you don't see him, you know, waist up, so we're fine. You can draw. You have my permission to draw the trunks on if they're offensive to you. Anyway,
isn't it insane how like this comic book community, like it's not just Superman. It's like we have this whole thing, this whole battle, and people get angry and will rage at each other.
Oh God,
over where you wear their underwear. It's just like
I don't mind the conversation at all. It's only when they start treating comic creators like they're the villain in the story because you're not getting exactly what you want the minute you wanted it, or the thing that you had when you were a kid. It gets a little abusive sometimes, where you're like, hey, no, that's a human being who cares. I promise. I don't know a comic creator in the world who doesn't care with their whole heart about what they're doing and the characters that they're writing.
And it's funny because we've interviewed people. Like I remember I was talking to the great Ron Mars, and I was talking about like he got like death threats, and people just would walk up to conventions and just be like, "You're fucking killing Green Lantern. You suck so hard." And I'm thinking to myself, okay, number one, this is a human being. Number two, it's a fictional character. I understand you're passionate about it, but where's your Green Lantern? Are you working on the character?
Yeah,
you know?
well, that's there's an ownership, and it's fine. It's very, it starts at a loving place, and that's like, and I gotta say, I've made a lot of appearances. And I know I get my shit online. I know I do. I'm not lying to it, but I must say, no one's ever said a word to my face, like in disrespect. I also think you come up to me, you're like, yeah, this is not the energy I'm putting out. Like, there's no fight here. I'm not gonna, so no one's ever said anything to me or my friends to our face. And even had people say to me afterwards, I've been talking shit about you, and then I met you. Now I'm sorry I talked shit about you, but I do hate what you did with blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, that's it. Okay,
that's nice.
Message received. Yeah, and also a lot of it comes from passion. Like I get it. We're like, you should hear us when comic creators when we all get in a room. It gets really passionate. Like those Marvel retreats we're talking about. It gets really, really passionate, So we're all the same kind of fan. It's just it's just what we do with energy. To all the Marvel writers, they do. I'm not part of that circle anymore. I know they just had one. I've graduated. I did them for like 19 years. I did a lot of them. So, but they get together. I think it's a great tool. I think most of your best memories from both Marvel and DC came out of those retreats.
Nice.
I was at I'm in the first one from our generation. They just had us get in a room and went down the list of characters and said, and the publisher said, us owning it isn't enough reason to publish it. Why do we publish Iron Man? Why do we publish Fantastic Four? What is it about? Are we telling that story? If not, why not? And what story should we be telling with that character? And that's why I ended up on Avengers. That's where Iron Man Extremis came from. That's where Astonishing X-Men came from. Like real landmark now moments in those character history came from just let's go around the table and talk about what these things are and what we're doing. And then it evolved into, hey, let's plan a summer together. And then the Civil War retreat was one of the best retreats I'd ever been to, where we literally spent 3 days talking about something else that wasn't working. And in 4 minutes out of the conversation of this isn't working, Civil War popped right out the other end. Like in 4 minutes, the whole thing came together. Like you hear about songwriters talking about like Dolly Parton saying, I wrote Jolene in 5 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, but because of the 20 years that led up to it. And so being in a room with like 40 writers and just the best idea comes flying out at the end, incredible. And I've, watching Jason Aaron build Thor and watching Fraction build Hawkeye, or watching Jason build Secret Wars, like they come in and you watch them from their earliest germ, and then they build and build and build and build, and everyone yes ands it into a space until it's something special. I'll never forget these moments. They're incredible. It's just delightful. And also just you get, particularly at Marvel, there's a level of mutual respect among the group. And we're not all friends, but there's this level of we're all here to help each other that never went away. And every time I come across a picture from a retreat, which I was actually just recently told to do because Marvel's putting together a book that has some of these memories in them, and we all were taking pictures. Jerry Dugan taking the best pictures of all of us, and I'm so glad we have these memories because there was a time in my life where I was in a room with Jonathan Hickman, Jeff Lemire, and Scotty Young just cooking stuff, and there's no other space where that would have ever happened. Unless Marvel put us together.
It sounds like the best summer camp ever, Brian.
Right?
Literally, I want to go to
the best.
I want to go to Marvel retreat.
Literally,
God, that sounds like the best, guys.
Okay,
and sometimes
I
there'd
was
be
a chef for 23 years. I can probably I can cook.
But even sometimes the debates would be as rough as you would read on Reddit or wherever we're thinking about killing a character, or they're thinking about I remember that Captain America is going to die. Oh my God, it was such a passionate conversation. It was great. Wow. That was the other funny thing too. You never wanted to leave the retreat because your character might die if you're not in the I remember Ed Brubaker had to catch a flight, and then an hour later at the airport, I think I killed it. Yeah.
Who's the biggest troll
now.
at these? If you're talking Reddit similarities, who's the biggest troll?
Well, it depends.
That just destroys people.
I not necessarily trolls, but there's definitely people there's a couple creators who would definitely want to protect their childhood memories, right? And they would hear a story coming along, you could see it was agitating them. I've said a couple things where Tom Brevoort, who was literally one of the best editors I've ever worked with in my life, but before we knew each other, I remember saying stuff in the room and looking at him like, he's going to fucking kill me. That guy's going to murder me for saying what I just said out loud. And then we ended up being amazing partners. To the point where I told Tom that he was such a strong editorial voice in my head that he was still in my head while I was writing Superman. I was still running ideas through an imaginary AI in my head of Tom Brevoort. It was hard to describe. Yeah.
You're the only person who doesn't have Mark Wade going through their head when you're writing.
On speed dial.
Mark would have been one of those guys. Yeah, no, but Mark also just coming at it with an expertise and everyone had a different expertise. I was more emotionally involved with the characters, and they're people who have the facts of their lives memorized. So it's that mixture of the group that makes it magical. if that makes sense. You know, and John's like a methodical planner. Fraction is too, like just like, you know, notebooks full of charts and stuff like that. Or yeah, it's just everyone comes at it differently. You put them all together, you're gonna get something special.
Right, Jar.
And also,
you said you had a next
idea
question?
was that if an idea could survive this room, it can survive the internet.
Okay.
You know,
Jar, you had a question?
Like, I've had like I come in with an idea and like some writer who I barely know will poke a hole in it. I'm like, yeah, that you're right. I didn't think of that, and or add something to it that made it magical. You know, and I was so grateful because I'm like, boy, the internet would have killed me if that person wouldn't have said that to me now a year ahead of time. You know, and they would have been right.
I've always wondered with writers such as yourself, because you guys have a daunting task, especially in comic books. You have to keep up with stories from, like you said, like 30, 40, 50, sometimes 50 more years ago. How do you keep all that straight? Is there somebody you have to go to, or is there like a file system for you guys or something like that?
Well, a few things go on. And also actually the biggest thing is you're working in the moment of it's a living, breathing, changing universe. It's a shared universe.
Yeah.
With sometimes dozens of authors working simultaneously, moving it forward. So what you don't want to do is be writing in a bubble that doesn't sound like you know what's going on in any other book. Like you don't have to reference all the other books, but just the idea that you understand what's going on in Captain Marvel or what's going on in Iron Man while you're writing this would be helpful to the vibe of it all. So what they did was they started sending us, like, as soon as the books were done, we all get PDFs of them. So we're all like reading like 4 or 5 months ahead of everybody. So we have like a sense of where things are headed. And also we had heard a lot of these pitches. Like we had heard Jason's Jane Foster pitch for a year or so before it actually became you know, a story, right? So we're all like aware of what's going. So it's a mixture of like, a lot of us must say, not to be surprised, but most of the room has some sort of encyclopedic knowledge of some part of the Marvel universe, or if you're Mark Waid, you have all of it, right? So a lot of us are coming in with a lot of information, but with the idea that it's good to have all that information. It's nice to remember what happened to me in high school, but that doesn't affect what's happening in this conversation, right? Yeah. So you want to be present with them and have that information for when it's needed, right? But you don't want to lean too hard on it because then you're just writing on a hamster wheel. You're not advancing the character in any way, shape, or form. Right. So they would be, and there's like, if you need like, hey, does anyone have a copy of X-Men Annual 3 from 1971? Like, and then it'll show up, you know, so you do have access to libraries that you can access if you don't have them all, but most of us have them all. So we have our own copies. So yeah, it's and they're very helpful in that way, and they love to share. And also Tom is, again, and Tom, Nick Lowe, Mark Paniccia, these people are like encyclopedias of knowledge. Like, you know, and also I remember years ago, I've talked about this publicly a couple of times, but John Cleese from Monty Python wrote a book called On Creativity, and he talked about like there's one time where he was writing a sketch for Monty Python, and then by the time he finished the sketch, when he pulled it out of his typewriter, he went, "Oh no, I'm not creating. Peter Sellers wrote this 20 years ago. I'm remembering." And I went, "Oh shit, is that a thing we could do?" And then I literally said to Tom, "You will know better than me. If you ever catch me like accidentally writing an old Roy Thomas comic that think I'm creating, but I'm actually remembering, please like, tackle me." Like, you can get paranoid about like, wait, am I remembering this or am I creating this? And that got in my head for a little bit, but I got over it. Yeah.
Okay, MJ, you had a question?
No, I think Carol had a.
Oh, okay, Carrie.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm. Good Lord, I have so many questions for you, but I'm taking it over to the audience because they took the time to join us and do everything, and I'll bug you afterwards. I need to.
Thank you for joining us, everybody.
Yes. Okay. I need to hop on this real quick. I know that you write a lot of like crime fic and such, and there is a lot of unaliving that happens. So, Jeffrey here would like to know: is it okay for superheroes to be killers? Batman and Superman never kill, and I really like that. So
I think canonically Batman has killed, right? Is that
Mhm.
correct? I
Yeah.
mean, I never
That's
had him
correct.
kill anybody, but I do remember. So yeah, I think these are all at the end of the day, they're morality plays. They're like Aesop's fables in a way. They're stories about someone learning to be their best selves, or what good versus evil is, and you know how far were you willing to go to protect that which you say you will protect. So for Superman, it was my philosophy that I stole from many other people, that he's the best version of us. He's thinking the best thoughts. Like, and it was a great, may I say, a great job to have during the pandemic when it was hard to come up with good thoughts for yourself. But I was forced for many hours a day to think the thoughts of the best person. It's hard to go to the grocery store and fight with people when you're writing Superman all day. So I will
That's
say
true.
I don't see. No, it's true. But so it's such a you're trying to aspire to this. It's such an aspirational story that it's not like, and I grew up in the 80s and 90s where like, how far down can we pull these characters, and like how rage filled can they be, and people like learning the wrong lessons from Frank Miller's Daredevil, or and trying to see how aggro they can get with the characters. And I was never really into that at all. And it's always frustrating when people learn the wrong lessons from an excellent idea. Or Watchmen, really, everyone was trying to Watchmen everything, and like, no, not everything needs to be Watchmen. That's not what it's for. And so I had just a different philosophy, and I think our idea is that the characters are always faced with a choice and never even, like with Spider-Man, he's never even going to think about it. I'm always going to do the right thing, and if I got to take a spanking instead, I'll take the hit, right? So that's Spider-Man's always going to make the right choice, or he's not Spider-Man anymore. The end.
Yeah.
Right. And I was so grateful. I had so many people like Jerry Conway that I grew up with reading that had defined this so clearly that there was no question in my mind that was the right way to go. Yeah.
All right. Next question. I have 3 of these. So after this, I have one more out of these. Okay. X-Men related. I still love Bendis' run X-Men. Issue number 13 has one of the best speeches by Kitty Pryde regarding her mutant identity and everything that stands for her and her pride in that.
Yes. So that's go ahead. I'm sorry. Was there more?
Oh no, it's kind of more of a comment, but what would you like to? Can you extrapolate?
Well, that was. People goofed on me for how much Kitty Pryde I put in, but now with some retrospect, obviously, as a Jewish person, I saw Kitty Pryde and Ben Grimm as like representation that startled me, right? And there's a lot of characters that are definitely coded Jewish from their creators and the way they act, Spider-Man, and that Jewish people can definitely see. Well, that's I don't care what anyone says. That's Stan. That's Stanley Lieber as Peter Parker. And so with Kitty Pryde, particularly because I was at that age when Claremont introduced her, and because she kind of was like a not fully formed character, she was like figuring it out on page as we went. I just was delighted by her. So because I was a little Jewish person trying to figure it out as I went. So I couldn't wait to express my feelings about that with that character. And then when I got to that page, that particular page where she tells a story about she doesn't particularly look Jewish, but so it's different when you don't look a certain way or represent a certain way, then you're faced with. And that had happened to me. I'd gone on a date with a woman who just got crazy anti-Semitic, whispering things to me about the Jews, and I'm like, oh my god!
Wow.
I'm sitting there going, should I show her my bar mitzvah pictures? But I had been faced with someone thinking they were safe to be anti-Semitic with me, and me being like deeply horrified, and so that story she tells happened to me, and it's a very rare occasion in a Marvel comic where I'm actually telling you a true story, but through a character, right? And it was, and I was grateful to be able to do it, and I was overwhelmed by the response to that. I couldn't believe how many people, Jewish and not Jewish, were moved or taken or are grateful for that page. I was because as Many people will tell you your best work is right on the edge of super embarrassing, and I'll tell you that's a feeling that never goes away. But when you're writing up to the edge of, oh, I don't know if I should even share this, and then you're right to share it. It makes people feel better and more human. So
Right.
yeah, so I appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay,
Carrie?
so this is one from our good friend Dylan. You would make his life basically. Would you ever write an Aquaman run?
Well, I wrote
Because
a little Aquaman in my pandemic killed JLA run. I was like writing my ass off on JLA, and there's no stores are open, but Aquaman was right there. At the time I was at DC, one of my best friends, Kelly Sue DeConnick, was gifted the Aquaman run, and we
Right.
talked at great length about what that character is. And I remember Kelly getting to a space with that character that was so deep and so profound that I was like, "Oh, the right person's writing Aquaman." Like you, boy, oh boy, that's it. Like, and it's happened with a few characters where your friend is writing it and they say something about the character that's so profound, you go, "Oh, I don't even want to. I'm putting it on my mind. I'm not even thinking about this character anymore because it's almost like you feel like it's been solved." And then again, it's all liquid and it flows as we go. But if you want to see what I think is a great Aquaman run, read Kelly Sue's. That would be my aspiration if I ever did do it. Nice. I did meet Jason Momoa.
Nice.
Paul, man.
My stepsister is absolutely all adoring it, so I keep having to make all these different memes and stuff to send her to just like when she's down, it's like, here's Jason Momoa rising from the seas to make you happy.
Yeah.
There you go. Leo, you had a question?
Yeah. And I know our time is limited, so I want to make sure.
No, Leo, don't worry about it. Just do your thing.
I know. So I absolutely loved Batman Universe. It was one of the
Thank you. Me too.
Yes.
It was one of the first books I started collecting when I got back into comics. I was a big, comic collector, in the 90s, early aughts, and stopped for a while. But anyway, Batman Universe is definitely a different Batman. And I love the interaction between, the different characters and like the jaunt between the different universes and stuff. But before that, you were doing Superman. I from what I remember, I think it was like a more serious Batman or serious Superman, where Batman's more lighthearted. What do you think of the contrast? How did you approach writing that Batman? Sorry, go ahead.
No. Thank you. That is one of my favorite things I did at DC, and I'm thrilled that I did it. And I was like bullied into doing it. Was kind of gently bullied into doing it. When I came to DC, again, that which was never the plan. I was going to leave Marvel and do what I'm doing now, but then DC got wind of it, and Dan called me and it literally made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And then, like all of you, I know my history and so many of my heroes, including Walt Simonson, had gone to Marvel and then went to DC for a little bit and went back to Marvel.
Right.
Like there was a bit of a, Perez did it, Byrne did it, like Frank Miller did it, like so to be offered that same path, I literally couldn't say no. And then I had a secret meeting with Dan DiDio where he was like, I think I was the first new hire they'd made in a while who didn't ask for Batman right away. And I wasn't thinking about Batman, and I even thought about later, well, why aren't you thinking about Batman? Oh, it's because in high school, Dark Knight Returns came out, and I thought, well, that's it. Batman that's it.
There you go.
The greatest thing Batman could do has been told. It was literally like Batman, Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One, and Killing Joke came out within 12 months of each other, and I was at that age. And my brain was melted, and that's Batman. And what the fuck am I gonna say, right? So right. I know Batman in me, and also Batman at the time was a very horror related book. Scott was very much pulling, Joker faces and all that, and I know very successful, but not my vibe, not where I would think to go. So I'm like, I don't have anything to say with Batman. But boy, little Jewish boy from Cleveland would love to write Superman if that becomes available. And also, I got into an age where I realized that when you raise your hand for a character, you have to be careful because it is someone else's job at the moment, and you don't want to
Right.
complicate or bully or do anything. And I may have accidentally done that once at Marvel, and it really I didn't realize I'd done it, and it bothered me a great deal. So I was going to make sure, like, hey, if Superman ever becomes available, I would love a shot, whether it be mini, like that. That would be cool, right? And then he goes, "Oh, hey, you know, Action 1000 is like 3 weeks after you sign." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I would love to be in Action Comics 1000." So it became, oh, I'm going to do Superman, and even the whole time Dan's like, "I can't believe you want to do Batman." I go, I want to do Superman. I want to do Superman and Legion. I really, really do. And so a few months later, he called me and Tom King and said, "You're both going to do these Walmart books." For those who don't know, it was a Walmart promotion for these magazines, and you're going to you're going to switch books. You're going to do Batman, and he's going to do Superman. And I'm like, "Oh, you're so smart." Like he wants me to write Batman, and he's kind of like he personally wants it. And so I had I met Nick Darrington, who had just done amazing work with Gerard Way on the Young Animals imprint, and my God, and it was like the perfect voice for what I was deciding was my and I had the same question you asked, like, what's my Batman? Like, where would I want to go? And I had publicly posted about all of this. I was rereading the entire DC universe from scratch. I was because it's different reading it as a fan than reading it as a collaborator. You look at the stories differently. And I read this Batman encyclopedia with like all the armors and stuff like that. And it had a little intro by Frank Miller. And Frank Miller said in the intro, and I'm paraphrasing, that one of the only characters in all of pop culture that you can do Lego Batman and horror Batman, and the audience goes, "Yeah, that's Batman," is Batman. Like, you couldn't do that to any other character. You go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, that's not Spider-Man. Whoa, 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 that's not the Fantastic Four." But Batman can seem to be pulled from the silliest version of Batman, which was one of the most popular, to the most serious version of Batman, which was also one of the most popular. You can do the Batman TV show and Christopher Nolan, right? Yeah. So I'm like, it kind of frees you to like think of what your Batman is. I'm like, oh my, it freed me of like whatever he had put on me in the 80s. With Dark Knight Returns, and then I started just writing my Batman, and then about 3 issues into it, I went, "I'm writing Brave and the Bold. This is my favorite Batman. Is Jim Aparo on Brave and the Bold? That's my Batman." And then I didn't start thinking this is Brave and the Bold, but like 4 issues in, even like, "Oh, this is Brave and the Bold. Here's Green Arrow, here's Green Lantern," and I was so happy. Like, immediately, someone wrote, "Oh, so you love Brave and the Bold?" I'm like, "Thank you. Yes, you see me. I feel seen." So that was my Batman. But yeah, I was delighted that it hit well, because I'm like, we all do like takes that are like against the grain of what's going on in the moment with that character that sometimes are well received, and they're darker takes or lighter takes. But this one was well received, so I was grateful. And people were being rough on me then too. Like, people were really John Kent pissed off at me. So I appreciated the how much people were digging our Batman. Yeah, I love it. If you find the trade, pick it up. It's stunning. It's gorgeous. Dave Stewart and Nick Darrington.
Brian, I just need to say, as a dinosaur fan, the scene where Batman is like, "I love dinosaurs," and realize, like, really? And it's like, yeah. Like, literally, hold on, I gotta read it. It says, "I love dinosaurs." "You do?" "Of course I do." Batman loves dinosaurs. I have a giant dinosaur in my bat cave. Oh yeah, I need a cave.
I got a lot of
left enough. We made the background that.
I earned a lot of respect for the dinosaur line that I didn't see coming. I thought it was, we all see the dinosaur he's got a big giant dinosaur in his house. What? So I was grateful that line landed well. It really did warm me to people. If for Batman fans, there is a podcast behind the Comedy Bing Bang paywall where Bobby Moynihan plays Batman. I've been on this podcast. It is one of my favorite Batman content things that exist in the universe. It is silly as hell. I've been on it. It was one of the most magical days of my life. if you're not familiar with that space, I love that space as a podcast. But that Batman podcast is mwah.
I'm a huge Batman fan, so I'll definitely check it out.
You'll love it.
And you follow up, where he says dinosaurs, magnificent creatures, like right before they leave. But you mentioned Lego Batman and, of other forms of Batman. Jar Jar said you're a gamer. I don't know if you know, but they're actually merging Arkham Batman and Lego Batman.
Oh, you don't think me, my 13-year-old, know about this? You don't think?
Well,
God,
Leo, we have to acknowledge that this man got to live his dream when they were like, "Hey, Brian, do you want to do an Ultimate Spider-Man video game in the early 2000s?" And he was like, "Do I? I will write every line of dialogue in this entire mother flipping game."
I had a great time at that game. It was a great experience. I also got to write the Marvel MMO, which I think is now defunct. I don't think it exists anymore. I also got to write, and this is the best job I've ever had. I wrote an Avengers video game that folded because the company collapsed. But my contract was fully executed. So, yeah, there you go.
Yes,
I have one of the
I
very
have that
few.
too, actually. Yeah.
If you could Google this on YouTube, you can see there's the defunct Avengers scroll game where they did like basically a Secret Invasion video game that was better constructed than our comic book, to the point where I was mad at myself because they had it constructed where everyone just wakes up one day and the Skrulls have invaded and they already won. I'm like, oh, I should have done that. That's how I should have done it. And so when I did Age of Ultron, that I did that. Like you wake up on Ultron, it just happened while you're sleeping. So anyway, so video games have been very good to me. I love doing them. I've been paid a couple of times for games that never happened. Mwah. Including a sequel to that. To that game, I got hired to write the sequel to Ultimate Spider-Man, and then they realized they didn't have the window. Sony had a movie game coming out, and so they didn't have enough of a window to get our game out. So I had written this whole story, and then that became Ultimate Spider-Man, like the Death of the Hobgoblin storyline. That was what the second video game would have been.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
amazing.
What are you playing now with your son?
Well, it was really funny. We do a lot of almost nightly. We do a after school relaxing Call of Duty 3 zombie Kinder Toten, just murdering zombies and just talking about our day. And Indiana Jones. A lot going on here with stuff. But my son also is like 13, so he's discovering a lot of games that he just aged into. Like he can enjoy Just Cause. Like he's really really loving it. So yeah, so I kind of let him just have the console.
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
but I will say, like coming up, like a lot of us when we weren't at a Marvel retreat, me, Ed, Matt, a bunch of other creators would hop on PlayStation and just murder each other in Call of Duty and just talk shop, and just a lot of some of the best moments we ever had. It's like coming up with good ideas, was just like being in that. It's like you're not overthinking it. You're just like, you know what I mean? You're just talking while you're shooting and killing. Yeah, and a lot of us play games that are not story based because we spend so much time in story that I just need to be murdering people when I'm playing games.
Guys, we got to get back to video games. We need to get back to video games to have the ideas.
All right.
And the only game I pitched that didn't go through that I really think they blew it was years ago when Simpsons Tapped Out was all the rage. I was like, why is there not a Marvel version of this game where you're just building and building? And I pitched and pitched and pitched. I could not get them to. Because I physically wanted it, and I know that Marvel Rivals and that some of them have some of this now, but I had a very specific. You're gonna have an empty New York, and you're just gonna build it building at a time, and villain at a time. So, but I couldn't get it going.
Wonderful.
I have this terrible issue. I love video games and I can play MMORPGs, but I've tried to play some of the other games, like the matchup games, where you like knock out 4 things and then you build up enough to where you can use your power to shoot things. And I am epileptic, and so I have seizures.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's sad because I can play like World of Warcraft and some of the bigger games because they let you adjust your
But
graphics and stuff.
Candy Crush will get you.
Yeah,
Candy Crush will knock her out.
yeah.
Wow,
It's
that's such a
insane,
safe space
the
for me.
little yeah, it's the little games that like just destroy me. But I'm gonna grab you since I have this moment here. So I have a question for you about Batman universe, real quick. And this was something that just like, oh, I love that you used Riddler, but you used him to show how the ring was affecting people's minds, and he is such a strong character. So seeing him become feeble-minded and the way he used that as a way of trying to fight back with what he gave to people was wonderfully poetic.
Thank
But
you.
I am now going to forever be curious as to what happened to him after we last saw him, because time and space changed and came back and went forward, and you just left us hanging. You
I
gave us a
believe he became a big.
Claremontism.
I believe he became a big movie star and got his own comic written by the actor who. Yeah, so
boom,
worked out okay for him.
Okay.
I really some of
All
that
right.
is like, oh, there's a big Riddler thing coming, back off, like, you know what I mean, like, so it, yeah. Just look at the Paul Dano stuff as the
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
He is just such a like though. I mean, like Ollie hates on Batman's Rogues Gallery like mad, and Joker is considered, the ultimate anti-Batman character. But Riddler
Disagree,
is
but yes, I know.
I mean, in general, but Riddler is so intensely intelligent in the way that he attacks things. I just love that you chose him as the character to be there for that.
Thank you. I will say,
Sir.
just this week, my son, who's on spring break, experienced Batman Forever for the first time.
Oh my God!
And
yes,
he's 13, and he was furious. He was livid. He goes because also like he didn't like because remember that movie is like wrapped around Jim Carrey mania of the time, and you have like Tommy Lee Jones is actually trying to outdo Jim Carrey in some scenes, which is nuts because that's not his energy. And so my son is like, why is everyone acting like the Joker? That's the Riddler is not the Joker. Two-Face is not the Joker. And I'm like, let's start your podcast now. Put a microphone.
You know what?
You're ready.
You know what you have to do to it? You have to quote the. It was like your entrance was good. His was better. Why? Showmanship.
No, the best quote of that is from behind the scenes, and comedy people talk about it all the time.
Oh my God, what?
Where Tommy Lee Jones, you can Google this. This is a well-known story.
Okay.
Where Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey were put together, and Tommy Lee Jones got a big face of Jim Carrey, and he pulled him aside and goes, "Just so you know, I do not sanction this buffoonery." Wow. That is the best line.
Amazing.
They did not get along at all.
No, they hated each other.
Yeah, they hated each
So
other.
I just real quick. I think that's also the movie where they snuck in the Holy Sheet Metal Batman or something like that.
Something like that.
Oh,
Yes.
rusted metal.
Oh, Holy Rusted Metal Batman.
Yeah, it's made of metal.
Yeah.
It's full of holes.
Yeah, all the holes. So I have one more question.
Like a 13-year-old with today's sensibility who has experienced the Christopher Nolan franchise and then goes back to experience that. He's like, what the? He was apoplectic. It was hilarious.
He was too sexy. He was like, what the hell is this? Where's Hans Zimmer? Who's Seal? What's the smashing? What is this?
Not only were we happy to have it, just trying to tell how well received it was in the moment,
There you go.
Actually collecting the glasses.
Indeed. So I kind of want to bring back to.
I think I have a Batman universe. Yeah, right there. Hold on.
Oh,
there's a Batman universe right there.
Nice.
Right
Look at
there.
that. That's amazing.
That's a gift from Darrington right there.
Nice. So my last question, and then I'm done. I wanted to bring back to Spider-Man, which again, I love all of Spider-Man, but this is one of my favorite stories. And I always kind of enjoyed reading it, remembering, like, I think it was the great Joe Quesada. It was like, man, if we ever cross over with the regular Marvel, this is a sign we've run out of ideas. And it was the 50th anniversary. You and Sara Pichelli have 5 issues to just do the mother of all crossovers. And man, you guys nail it. And it wasn't just.
I'm really proud of us.
And I again, every time I reread it, I'm still laughing at the same jokes. Whether it's Spider-Man doing the put your hands in the air, wave it like I just don't care, dead. Admitting how much he hates Mysterio. They just hold hands like, oh my god, no, I hate this guy. And of course the absolutely hilarious moment with Nick Fury. So you're Nick Fury. He's African American. Sorry to hear. He's white. Sorry to hear that. Amazing, just hands down. But the emotional beats in it are still heartbreaking. Peter meeting Ultimate Aunt May and Gwen. The whole kind of giving Miles the blessing, and of course the things you need to know about Spider-Man. Clones are bad. Don't ever loan money to Wolverine, ever. But the one question I had is I have to ask is I was reading an interview, and I think it was you were talking about it, and there was, I think, a moment in issue 4 that Sara was like, okay, you broke me. I cried. Do you know what moment it was? Because I've been racking my mind, and I'm like, I would love to know what it was, because
it was Aunt May related, I believe. If memory serves. I believe it was. We had that. For those who have grieved people, like comic book logic can allow us moments of like clarity and grief for a character that you wouldn't get in real life. Like you wouldn't get to like meet another universe's version of your son and get to hug them one last time, or to say the one last thing you wanted to say. So that stuff hit really hard, and it's also just speaks to Sara's emotional connection to what she's drawing. Both the Spider-Man miniseries and a lot of the work we're talking about was colored by Justin Ponsor, who is no longer with us. Ponsor. And he was one of the really, when you talk about some of these moments, his ability to bring a richness to the page is second to none, and I miss him terribly. And and we really did become pals from working together on all these projects, but it did feel like you're working with like a master cinematographer or something like Roger Deakins, or like, just no notes, just do you. And so a lot of the emotions that you're feeling that came from choices that he was making with Sara. And it's kind of amazing. Just want to piggyback. I had the pleasure of meeting Justin once or twice, and he was one of those people, no matter what you brought him, he would sign everything. He was the nicest guy, brushing back the long hair to talk to you, and he was just, again, one of the sweetest, nicest people. So I remember I was all ready to go to con, and I didn't even know he had passed, and I had a huge stack ready to go, and I was like, I'm going to carry this. It's okay. Like me, David Marquez, and he really like bonded as a team. Like Justin and I worked on a bunch of projects together, but the three of us, that stuff was really, really some special stuff. So So, all right, thank you for letting me say his name, because he's one of those names you're not going to hear unless we keep it alive and let people know a lot of those things that you're experiencing in my work came from his contribution that is still second to none. It's incredible.
Absolutely. So, my pleasure.
I will. And you said about Joe about like him, giving us the business on certain ideas. That was in a way very good editing, because I'm like, well, I'm going to prove to Joe that he's wrong. Like there was things that Joe and I always disagreed with, and we'd have great friendly debates. We're still very, good friends, and and some of that came from that we would debate certain things, and so I would like just prove my point in my work, and I know that he was kind of doing that to me to make me do that, if that makes sense. Like every once in a while, he would just like drop something on me just to like mess with my head, just to get me to like be sharper, and I'm not sure I needed it all the time, but I love that he did it. It was so fun. He did it once in front of we talked about this publicly, like me and Matt Fraction were sitting there talking. Joe comes up, and we just had the most amazing convention. He comes up and goes, "You're overwriting." I go, "What?" He goes, "Oh, you're strangling your artist to death." I'm like, "What?" And he goes, you gotta start writing Marvel style. You gotta start writing full script. You're killing everybody." And then like kind of walked away. And Matt goes, "Oh, he's fucking amazing." Because now all we're all thinking about is what happened. and it was and it did keep me honest, if that makes sense. Like it wasn't mean spirited, and it wasn't cruel. It was just,
right.
Yeah, and and also he did have a feeling that I wrote better angry, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need you to make me angry though. I'm like the Hulk. It's always there.
Oh, we agree. All right. Leo, you had a question?
Well, we had another one come in on Reddit, and I know Carrie had some questions on Torso, so I'll just ask this real quick.
Oh, great. Yeah, Torso's been under mine lately.
So Rex Mundi is asking, and I'll preface this with, Ultimate Universe is ending and extremely popular. You have an amazing legacy with Ultimate Spider-Man. Would you ever write more Ultimate Peter and MJ because their storyline was left wide open? Rex Mundi would love to see more of them. Obviously,
I appreciate that. And maybe one day I'll change my mind. At the moment that I really have to remind myself, you did that. Do something else.
Right.
And one of the gifts of Miles Morales and Jessica Jones and Ironheart being out in the world like this, that it does allow me the privilege of putting new stuff out into the world. And I would be a fool not to do that instead of just like repeating or diving back into a pool that I know I can swim in, but trying things out that I'm not sure I can do, or a space where I'm actually more scared of the results is it's
that's how you grow.
I don't know. All my heroes, my real heroes, have really took swings when they were allowed to, and I've just that's what I feel I should be doing at the moment. I also know that I may wake up tomorrow and go, "Oh my God, I want to write MJ. Oh my God!" And so I'm happy that the door is back open. I have some, and also I'm trying to I have some projects coming that may scratch that itch, if not the way I used to, but with a new idea that may also help that idea, if that makes sense. And it's like I really had to 19 years over multiple storylines and multiple series going on simultaneously. I really do have to look at that time as mountain climbed and force myself into scarier or more exciting spaces for me at this time in my life. This is going to sound I apologize for how this sounds, but a lot of this is dreams I had as a child, and I was able to fulfill them in a way that I couldn't even perceive as a child, because the MCU did not exist when I was a child. Games did not exist when I was a child. None of this was there. So a lot of it was being built around me as I entered the space. They were like, "Hey, we're doing games now. You want one?" Yeah. So it was "Hey, we're doing a cartoon. You want in?" Yeah. But none of that was what I was considering when I wanted to make comics. So having had the brilliant experience of having some of my childhood dreams come true, plus I do spend some time since DC really considering what are my adult dreams as a creator and what do I want to achieve now. And a lot of the times it just falls back to more new stuff, more new ideas. So when you look at what I'm doing at Dark Horse right now with Masterpiece and The Ones and Phenomena with Andre Lima at Abrams, and I have a new creator-owned book coming out with David Marquez. These are swings that I'm allowed to take right now, and I'd be furious at myself if I didn't take them. So I hope that makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know it's all privilege. I know it's all privilege. I know it is, but I want to make the most of it until it stops.
Carrie, before we get to Torso, Jar and MJ, did you have any questions?
No, I just have to be in bed by reasonable time as all.
All right, when you're ready to go to bed, just hang up on me. No problem.
just mic drop on the Bendis. Be like, "Bye. Brian, I'm out. Thanks. Bye."
I would absolutely never. First of all, I'm far too British to be that rude. Firstly, I'm far too English for that nonsense.
Fair enough. Jar, do you got anything?
You're muted.
Jar.
Oh, sounds good too. Yeah.
That lip syncing was wonderful, buddy.
Wasn't it? What was I singing anyway?
Mamma Mia.
Milli
got a ton
Vanilli.
of questions coming in from the outside world. I want to be respectful of Mr. Bendis's time.
Mr.
I have
Bendis'
not gotten
time.
any. I'm okay so far. So
He hasn't been
Okay,
texting
so
me to
we
Jar.
haven't
We're still
gotten-
good. Don't push it.
yeah, we're good. If I had to go, I'd tell you. But we can.
But I
we
want
can
to
do
give
two-
some of the
we can do a
people
couple
from the
more.
audience a chance to ask their questions. They did show up for us.
Okay, do we got a
I really
lot?
appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
We've been jumping in. I am going to steal a moment for Torso though, because
Please.
Torso is amazing.
So
If you
good.
guys have not read it,
Yeah.
it's a way back comic. It's black and white. It's fucking beautiful. And it's based on a true story. It's some true crime. We have some Elliot Ness involved. By the way, I did go out. I found you ahead. So
Oh my God.
there's one of
solved
them.
the
Terry, put that
I did my
away.
best. What? Well, I
Also,
risked
you're
my
holding
life.
a squirrel puppet and a skull. I feel you are a comic book. I can't. There's a pitch here. I can't figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Oh
later.
boy.
You're pitching something.
Yeah.
I would be honored, sir. But
I feel a Magnola comic just got invented right in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
She
The
turns
chill
into
came
a
across
crow,
Mignola's
too.
drawing board.
so I want to go through something where I'm an author and I write prose. I'm trying to put something into comics, but eventually, it'll work out. But you and I both have the verboseness. We are both loquacious as we go about our writing style. And one of the things that I really loved, and I'm going to throw up a couple of pages from Torso right now, is how you guys worked in to panels so that you could write all of the story and all of the dialogue and stuff and still keep things flowing. So I just love the way that, like, this is in a morgue. We're looking from the mortician over to people describing like what's going on and being able to have this long conversation to tell people exactly what's going on. And I hold it against you not at all that you have to explain this much, because it's very important. But you're very good at it, and following the different panels and things, you have artists that are amazing at putting things together and letting things flow, giving a small little bit of art, an entire story as it goes along. And these people back and forth, we see the same face pretty much all the way through here, and goes on to just, oh, yeah, that's where it was. And giving a big cityscape as the whole city is terrified as to what's going on because people are being murdered here. You guys have to read Torso if you haven't. And this is my last picture, is just throwing in the center. Here's all the action going, but we have the conversations going on here and there. And I really wanted to say that I appreciate how you're able to work with your letterers and your artists and be able to fit everything in, because you tell an amazing story. And in cases like Torso, you can't abbreviate it anymore. If you did, it wouldn't be a good story. You have to tell as much as you do.
I appreciate that. Number one, those pages that you just showed, I am the letterer and the artist, and
oh wow,
and writing most of the dialogue there. Mark and I absolutely co-created Torso together, but at that time, my collaboration muscles weren't. I was still figuring myself out, so Mark was a friend enough to just go do your thing, and so. And Torso is really back in our lives right now because they just announced Netflix is putting together a version of it from our book.
Yeah,
was
man.
Was Zach Kreger involved, which I can't wait. And Mark and I just had a very long Zoom meeting with the screenwriter who's taking over, who they haven't announced yet, but is a fancy Academy Award person. And it was delightful that, like, this, for those who don't know, this book came out almost 30 years ago. And Hollywood has optioned it consistently the entire time. Big people attached. David Fincher was attached for a while. It was actually greenlit under David Fincher. Paul Greengrass. I was working hard with Corin Hardy before the pandemic to try to get it made. So we've had, like, it's been a behind the scenes in my life, a delightful project that has never gone away. I'm always like meeting cool people. I got to meet David Fincher, spend a day with him. Like, that was cool, man. Like I would have paid him money for that. Like and yeah, it's an incredible experience, and it brought great joy to my life. But it's been going on for so long that we're at the place now where the story of making Torso may be more interesting than Torso, and that's always what you don't want. And I did ask when Netflix bought it last summer, I said to my lawyer, are we in the conversation for longest optioned not made book? And he went, no, Dune, 55 years. And then supposedly Frozen is based on the book that Disney's been holding on to for 75 years, which I did not know. So that we're not even close.
Wow.
But the fact that I even had to ask that question out loud was haunting. Because I would really like them to make it. That would be delightful, but I have no control over that. This version right now feels very strong, and I hope it happens. I will say that I've actually said to my students that I accidentally did myself an enormous favor by lettering my own books for many years. So when I enter the space of Avengers and I'm asking things of letterers or colorists or artists, that I not only do I know how to communicate myself and what I'm asking for, because I did it myself, I know how to ask for it respectfully, because there's a way to ask for all that shit that's just you are annoying me, but there's a way to like have everyone invested into an idea that the pages look this way, or the negative and positive. You see there's a lot of negative space on those pages, which I brought to Jessica Jones. Like I really do believe that you can create like tension with pushing all the panels to the left or right, depending on where the story is, right? So these ideas aren't for every book and not for every storyline that you're doing, but when it's appropriate, it's exciting to be able to like bring people together and see if we can do even a better version. Like all I see when you show those pages were my mistakes, but when I have other people do it, and also there's, I don't know, it's funny when I'm even to this day when I'm asking something of someone, they know I'm coming from I did it myself. I'm not asking you to do something I don't know. I know exactly how hard it is to do what I'm asking you to do.
Back then, I know. Yeah, back then I know that I read all of the letters and stuff. I know that you're doing full scripts and you're doing small drawings and stuff that you did purposefully bad, or not bad, but inaccurate, so that it wouldn't influence anybody else's artwork, so that they weren't.
It was worse than that.
That's how you described it, kind of.
Yeah, no, I when I talking about the early days at Marvel and on Sam and Twitch, like I drew every single page of Sam and Twitch because I at that time could not perceive where the writing stopped. It's all storytelling, and when I was writing and drawing and lettering my own books, I'm writing the whole time. I'm writing when I'm drawing. I'm certainly writing when I'm lettering. Nothing makes you a better editor when you're like, do I need all 40 of these balloons? Jesus Christ. Like it really makes you think about what you actually need in the script. So that's another reason I tell people to try to letter their own books, just to experience like what it is that you're doing. So when I entered the Marvel space, I on the first issues of Jessica Jones and Spider-Man, I was drawing like not storyboards, basically. I was just drawing like the layouts of the book, and it was Mark Bagley who called me up one day with that lovely Georgia Southern gentleman tone and went, yeah, you don't have to do that. That's my job. And I'm like, oh, and it was so much worse than if he would have yelled at me. Instead, he said it so nicely. I was mortified. I was like, I immediately go, oh, I'm doing it all wrong. Oh my God. And he was like, no, that's my favorite part. And then I called Gatos, who I went to college with. So we had a long history together. And I go, are my layouts annoying you? He goes, no, they're not annoying. I don't need them. I'm like, okay, I'm going to stop immediately doing this. And I also had the weird experience of having written a few issues of Sam and Twitch for Alex Maleev, drawing them like that, giving them to Alex. We didn't know each other that well, so he was just accepting them. And then when I left the book, Todd took over the book, and Todd didn't even write a script. He would just call Alex up and give him, like, verbalize what he wanted in the script. So he went from overly written script with layouts to, hey, and there's a gunfight, and then they solve the case. And then I saw, to my dismay, that in my opinion, his work with Todd was better than the work that he was doing with me because he didn't feel as confined by my choices. He was doing wonderful work. Every page of that's beautiful, but I could see where I was kind of holding his neck a little bit, and I didn't mean to. So when we got to Daredevil, no layouts. I just let this man soar, and that was part of the magic of those first few issues, is that I had learned a big lesson. I was very deeply embarrassed by myself, but again, I wasn't coming at it to be because I know better than everybody. I literally didn't know where the job stopped. I literally couldn't find the off ramp. So
I think that's absolutely fair, though, because when you like, I'm coming from a pro's point of view and wanting to write something, and it's just like I wouldn't know. Like I want this to be emphasized. I want this to have a place in something, and you don't know how to trust your artist if you've never worked with an artist before, or if you are an artist and you aren't doing the art for it, you want to let them know exactly how you think it should go. So I think there's a big learning curve there.
It's hard not to see the megalomania in it. So, but I will say and letting go and letting everyone soar, like my whole life turned, like everything changed in my life. Like everybody, like I got that's the part I got addicted to, is like, it's not going to be exactly the way you wrote it. It's going to be something else. It's going to be additive. 99% of the time, it was better than what was in my head, no matter how focused I was on thinking what Mark Bagley is going to do here. Then Mark Bagley hands it in and go, oh, that's even better than I thought. Right. So that was a great learning curve. I'm glad I got to do it early. I'm glad I got to do it quickly. That's why another reason I'm so grateful for Sam and Twitch. I'm like, oh God, I got that all out of my system beforehand. And got to the better part of it. So, and with people that it mattered the most to me. So yeah, it's a big one.
Indeed. Oh, thank you.
Also, but I will say, for writers listening, I still do the layouts to make sure that what I'm asking for can be done visually. And like little stick figures, just like, will this all fit on there? Because it's real. A page is real estate, and it's very valuable real estate. And you have to make sure that, particularly for us verbose writers who want to put a lot of Post-it notes on the art, you want to make sure that it's all going to fit and it's all going to look good, and they're not going to get in the way. So I do that a lot too. And I will say that for even the wordiest pages, the amount of editing I do once the art is in is incredible. Once I see, I don't have to say it. It's all there. If you can see it, you don't have to say it. It's a visual medium. Get out of the way. So, and even to this day, when someone like posts a page, like years ago, I did this thing with Stuart Immonen where like the Ultimatum. You guys remember Ultimatum, where they drowned everything?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So I got to do this great page where J. Jonah Jameson in his office, and it looks like a fishbowl. And because the city is drowning, and I remember, like, it's my favorite like page of that era of anything I've done. It was like the most perfect use of Stuart's talent. And when someone posted the art, I was stunned that there were 10 balloons on there. I don't remember there being any balloons on there. Like, I'm like, if I did it today, there would be nothing on there, like nothing. Right. So it's a constant evolution. I will say, though, talking about the verbose writers, we just hear the world very loudly and clearly, and there's a musicality the way people talk, there's a musicality the way people listen to each other and interact with each other. I'm obsessed with it, and when you find characters that can really like do that together, it's amazing.
I was going to ask if you like listen to jazz or anything while writing, because there is a rhythm to your writing, like the
not jazz. I listen to a lot of punk and a lot of a lot of very if there's a like a deciding thing, it's a lot of emotional music that's very, very in your face, and like Beastie Boys and Rancid and like these things are right. It's like right there, and it's pop right away. It's like second beat, what the song is. That kind of stuff is where a lot of my energy comes from. But a lot of playwriting. A lot of other people's dialogue, just when someone's got a flow to their dialogue, and it just, nothing delights me more than hearing it. So even when I'm like beating myself up about being too verbose, I'm like, you do really like this. I really like when I listen to the Gilmore Girls, or like, you're like, God, I love when the world sounds like this. And I have I have 4 children and a wife. I have a very loud house with a lot of crosstalk. It's just my world, and it's been my world my whole life. I don't hear anything else, you know.
Yeah.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with being verbose, sir.
I think about it, you know.
Yeah. I mean, Alan Moore.
The king of
Trying to
verbose.
read some of his. How
Yes.
absolutely. I was
Howard Chaykin.
terrified of that man, by the way, the first time I met him, and then the second time I met him, he gave me a hug, and I was just like, yay.
And he sang to her too.
He did. He sang songs to me. Drew recorded them. It was beautiful. So before we wrap up, I have a quick question for you here because it has to be mentioned as you're here. So Powers 25 has been amazing. The mix of classic and new characters has been fun. I haven't asked this of you anywhere else yet. Why Cutter's daughter? I love her. Just curious about the choice. So
I am quite obsessed with, and thank you for reading Powers 25, which is our 25th anniversary of our book Powers, which is being produced brand new material right now at Dark Horse, is what he's referring to. Me and Mike have a big Powers announcement on Friday, and but part of what I love about both Dina and some other characters, I love this generational cops in the family, and I love in comics too. I love in almost every, like, oh, you're doing like you're it's the family business. It's not, it's a calling that becomes a generational calling, you know. I got to work with John Romita Jr. quite a lot, and thinking about him and his father, who's very kind to me when I was coming in. How fascinating that is, just like wanting to like sit in your father's shoes. I didn't really know my dad, so like that's not in me, right? But like you'll meet cops and firemen and people who are literally like, there's no other path for them. They're like, of course I'm going to do that. Like, they grew up with it. And my oldest is an adult now, and she's in documentary filmmaking, which is a different lane than mine, but you're still dealing with the same Hollywood that I deal with. And I'm always like, you good? And she goes, oh, I learned like you don't do what I do. Well, I learned a lot, like growing up in the house with, and so we talk about it a lot. We're very close, and we talk about a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's something I'm obsessed with, like growing up to do the thing that or having, like, even like in show business, you'll see, so you saw it destroy your father and mother, but you still want to do it, or you saw them at their worst and you still think it's magical. Fascinates me, yeah. So that's why I like to write about it. And also, it's cool to be on a book for 25 years and be around enough to have that character be old enough to then take center stage, and for those of you who've read every issue, great. And if not, don't worry, you didn't miss anything. But boy, we've been building towards this for a while. That's a special, almost only in comics kind of thing you can do. So yeah. So those are the reasons. But like in the humanity of generational, or like plumbers, like, I'm going to be a plumber. My dad was a plumber. Like, there's like, I can't wait to be a plumber. That kind of stuff just fascinates me to no end. And while there's also children who are like, nah, I don't want anything to do, whatever that space you're in, I'm the opposite. I'm going to nowhere, nothing. Right. And we'll see. I think a couple of my kids are going to be completely the opposite of what they saw growing up. I'll be thrilled about that too. Both of it fascinates me. And as the dad, you have no control over it. It's just, everyone follows their own path. The only thing I could show my kids, and because of a lot of you, because of you, Drew, like, my kids get to go to comic book shows and have fun, but what they've learned from me and Kelly and Matt, who the people they grew up with, is like a lot of passion and a lot of positive energy, and they've seen it like come back in our face a lot. Like, every interaction we have publicly is delightful, and I know it's weird for them, right? And but it's always positive. So I'm like, whatever, and I get to say, whatever you do in living, it comes back. Whatever energy you're putting out there, it comes
It
back. You
does.
don't know when, you don't know
Yep.
where. But I was told this when I was a kid. I could not understand it. But now that I'm older and it's absolutely happening, Miles Morales is a hug that never stops in our family. Never stops. Right? And my kids get to experience and whatever choices they make going forward. Can't wait to see if they take that lesson. You know?
That's really awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right.
I did not see any of this coming, and it stuns me when I see it. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Leo, you ready?
All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
Please
So
sign up.
want to let everybody know. I'm just going to share real quick. If you're looking for more information on Brian here, we're doing something new. Everybody that we interview, you're getting a page on our site.
Oh, man.
Thank you.
You can come here and find all the information on how to follow you, including your website, Jinxworld.
Thank you.
And then like recommend reading, all our interviews. So and then any news we do as well is going to be a dedicated page just for you, sir. So everybody watching or listening, just head to our website and then you can find all the information on Brian and where to follow you. But where do you like people interacting with you on social media? So say if like Blue Sky, Instagram.
Yeah, I'm on Blue Sky and Instagram the most, but really the place where you can have the most, if you buy any issue of Powers 25, you get a QR code that takes you to the free Jinxworld Discord, which is filled with free comics and scripts and all kinds of great conversation. It's a real tightly curated group, and it stemmed from, if you go to jinxworld.com and you're very serious about your craft, we've been curating and recording and posting classes featuring all of my friends and peers, and you can just dive in. We have I think over 40 classes now, and all kinds of different conversations, and everyone's been very generous. We have Kelly Sue and J.H. Williams, and anyone I've ever come near, I bullied them onto the class so we can share our knowledge, because most of us are just dying for you to also try to make your own comics and experience what we've experienced, big and small, how healing it is, how emotionally purifying it can be just to get stuff out of your system and put it out on the page, and how great it can feel to share it with people. So if you're into that space, if you read my book Boards for Pictures and are trying to figure out how to make your stuff, there's classes there. If not, just come to Discord. We constantly sharing each other's work and stuff like that, and we're just rooting for each other to do our best work. So there you go. But if you just want the nerd stuff, Blue Sky, Instagram, all the announcements, including Fridays, are there. Enjoy them, and I appreciate every book you've bought, everything I've done that annoyed you that you shared online. I deeply appreciate it. Yes, Drew.
Yeah, Brian, what other conventions are you going to too, so people can meet you and have such a great time like we've had, but in person?
Yeah, I do, because I have so many kids. The appearances are few and far between. I literally just got back from Italy, which was insane. I will be in Cleveland in the summer. They're doing a Jewish comics museum thing where it's Superman, Harvey Pekar, and my stuff, which is very strange. Because it's literally all my dirtbag behavior in the 90s being put on a wall, and but I'm there to absolutely just celebrate Superman and the legacy of which I get to be part of, which is incredible. So I'll be in Cleveland in the summer, and other stuff coming when I can schedule it. But at the moment, I've taken on a few very, very big, very, to me, creatively scary projects, and I'm just going to sit home and do them. So, but I'm online if you need me.
Gotcha, man.
All right, guys. This was, if I can take a minute, Kari particularly worked very hard to schedule this and make this happen. I just wanted to thank you all for your time and consideration. Every nice thing you said to me, it's just incredible to hear, and I'm so grateful to everything you said, Drew. I'm grateful for meeting you in 2016. I just want to say thank you for all of the warmth and generosity you've shown me the last couple hours. And I hope people enjoy this. And if you need anything else from me, you give me a call. Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Drew's heart just growing and
Yeah,
growing
I'm good,
over
guys. I'm gonna need a minute after the show. I'm gonna need a minute. And I know. Oh my God, I'm convulsing. Stop it. We have to wrap up the show. Everybody, cut to Leo. God.
Okay, we'll wrap things up real quick. Find out more about Brian. There's information shown us up above or down below. If you go to the website, that has all the links right there for his website, Blue Sky, Instagram, everything. We'll do a quick roundup. MJ, where do you like people following you?
So the easiest way to get a hold of me and follow my cosplay shenanigans and my con adventures is Instagram, the Cheery Goth, Cheery, Goth is Goth. Or Facebook, Mahana Jade Longwalker.
Awesome.
Respect the cosplayers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jar Jar.
Hey, everybody, follow me over on Twitch. Also, check out Instagram, I guess. I'm trying to start to put more stuff up there. Other social media, I'm on there, but I'm not. So, I don't know. Come check us out at Terrificon this year.
Yes, absolutely.
Carrie.
Oh yes, Terrificon, please. We're already ready for you. You guys, I've just been ordering all of these things to give away at Terrificon. So you have to come by our booth so I can hand things to you. I have presents for everybody. Terrificon is August 7th through the 9th at the Mohegan Sun Casino in Uncasville, Connecticut.
You're very good.
It's put on by Mitch Halleck. It is a fabulous convention. It is our family convention. It is beautiful. It is wonderful.
Yes.
We have so much fun. That is where we first met Mahana, actually. She was a fan and she came on and now she's like our cheeriest goth girl. So I have a British competition who doesn't have a squirrel but dresses up in much better costumes than I do.
There's not even a competition.
But
I'm just happy to be
yeah, so we're like
the
besties now. But anyway, if you want to find me, Carrie Sanders. Yeah. Oh, and Dylan and everybody. I'm throwing out Dylan because we know Dylan. But if you want to find me, Carrie Sanders, just go to Facebook. There's a Judgmental Crow. I write things. I do things. Look there. It's me. That's how you get all the things. Thank you, everybody who showed up tonight and everybody who asked questions on Reddit. We are so excited about having this community grow and bring on people like Mr. Bendis here, because you've given us your support. And so we've gotten a chance to reach out and get some confidence, some reach out, some power, some going. So thank you very much, everybody.
Everyone should, if you can this weekend, go to a comic book store and buy something that would surprise you. And if you're having trouble doing that, a lot of your favorite superhero creators right now are also doing the work of their lives in creator-owned stuff. You love Matt Fraction's Batman? Oh my God, try Adventure Man with him and Terry Dodson. You like Jason Aaron's Absolute Superman? Try his Once Upon a Time at the End of the World or Bug Wars. Kelly Sue, you love Kelly Sue's Historia? Man, FML is going to blow your mind.
Just about to say FML.
Oh my God, I love FML.
There's Jonathan Hickman's creator-owned work. There's so many creators doing amazing stuff. I've been inundated with outstanding PDFs from some of my favorite creators. There's so many great comics coming out this summer. I just go there, buy something new, try something else. I'm telling you, it's going to open up a whole nother place in your brain. It's going to knock your socks off. It changed my life. So, all right, sorry.
Agree.
No, you're good. You're good. You know, it's just me.
Do it.
Okay.
All right, Drew.
Yeah, hi. I'm just going to say goodbye then. I won't get a full screen. It's okay. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. If you really liked what you saw, and we hope you did, hit the like and subscribe button on our YouTube so you can keep following us, because we have an amazing lineup still for March. Tomorrow, we have the great Fred Van Lente is coming on. Cool. He's coming back. We're going to talk about a lot of great stuff there. Next week, we have the great Ponsor Pichelli coming on. There are so many greats. And we're really, and everybody, if you do what we call hashtag Bendis Challenge, let us know what book you got by which creator, and let us know what you thought, because we will gladly tell them if we should have them on the show. And there's a good chance we already did or will or are working on it. Thank you so much, everybody. This is one of the best interviews that we've had all year, if not for a while. And I, again, was not kidding when I might really cry. So we're going to cut before, because I don't want to see Brian Michael Bendis made me cry, because I feel like that's going to end up some clickbait bullshit, and I don't want that. So
Drew, I'd hug you right now, but if before
I know
the pork chat comes
it's funny,
on
and I hug you right back, and I crack your back like a chiropractor, buddy. But thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Goodbye. Happy St. Bendis Day. I mean Patrick's Day.
Read Horizon
Thank you,
Experiment
Mango.
before pork chat comes on the show.
Sorry,
Thank you so
what
much.
was that, Brian?
Portak was the mind behind the Horizon Experiment from Image Comics. It's a genre-bending, incredible experience. All of you should have read it before he's on the show.
Yes.
It's in, and
Absolutely
all yeah, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. All right.
Got it.
Mwah. See you
Recommended
later.
reading.
Thank you.